Welcome to Victor Narrates Reddit. Like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Now, let's begin. He's a real man. You were only good for paying. My wife demanded a divorce. 7 days after I paid off her $200,000 debt. I signed with pleasure. She didn't read the fine print with the divorce. The debt reverts to her name. Tonight, she celebrates her freedom with her lover. Tomorrow, when the bank calls her, she'll know what I was good for. I knew the dinner was lost when my wife walked into the room 40 minutes late and she wasn't alone. Until that moment, the night was mine. 60 people celebrating 25 years of the laundromat. I was in the middle of a toast when they walked in, glass held high, speech halfway through. And I promise you one thing, we're going to keep washing for 25 more years with the same people. Applause. The guys from the plant banging on the table. She crossed the room without rushing, like someone entering their own party. Behind her came a man I had never seen before. Jacket over his shoulder, shirt unbuttoned. The confidence of someone who already knows the house. Sorry, the traffic, she said. She didn't even look at me. She presented him like a trophy. An investor interested in the business. I invited him. An investor. At my company's dinner. I was still holding my glass in the air. Without telling me, I went to receive them. Honey, right in front of my clients? Oh, don't start. I'm not starting anything. I'm asking who he is. I already told you. She seated him next to my daughter. You're paying for everything, right? What's one more glass? They sat down. The investor didn't greet anyone. He poured himself a drink from the bottle I had paid for and looked around the room like someone sizing up a property. My daughter, 19, sought my gaze but couldn't hold it. I held the smile, determined not to make a scene in front of the clients. Just when I thought the night was saved, my wife stood up, glass in hand. Since we're making toasts, the room fell silent out of courtesy. I toast to the 22 years that helped me learn what I don't want. Uncomfortable laughter. I smiled. I still believed in jokes. My love, are you talking about us? I'm talking about me. She lowered her glass, giving the room time to get comfortable. Don't you be offended. You're good at what you do. Washing, ironing, and paying. The employees' table lowered their eyes in unison. Give me back the microphone, was the only thing I could think to say. Keep it. She took the guest by the arm to the center of the room, and from there, with her hand on another man's chest, she dropped the line in front of my employees, my clients, and my daughter. He's a real man. You were only good for paying. I want a divorce. The room went silent. A waiter froze next to the dessert cart. The investor raised his glass in my direction. Don't take it personally, champ. Someone had to pay for the party. I don't remember answering. I remember my daughter staring at her plate and 60 people finding something urgent to look at on the table. At home, still wearing my tie, I asked her what it was all about. She pulled an envelope from a drawer and placed it on the table, like someone leaving the bill. The divorce papers have been ready for 3 weeks. They just needed your signature. 3 weeks. The dinner, the gifts, the good night, my love. 3 weeks of acting with a delivery date. And him? 8 months, she said, as if confirming a dentist appointment. I thought you'd be happy for me. You always say you want to see me happy. I just paid off your debts. $180,000. The debt is paid, she shrugged. You don't owe me anything anymore. You don't owe me anything anymore, coming from the one who never paid for anything. She packed 2 suitcases. At the door, she remembered one last thing. Oh, the university tuition is due on Monday. Your daughter, 22 years, and she walked out like you leave a hotel, leaving the bill at reception. The investor's car was waiting for her, with the lights on. 7 days earlier, at the notary's office, I had saved her financial life. 14 creditors, 11 credit cards, 2 personal loans, and a boutique that went bankrupt in a year. The bank was 9 days from foreclosing on her. In the hallway, my lawyer summarized it for me in a low voice. A single loan in her name, secured by the house. As long as the marriage exists, the monthly payments come from your account. The marriage ends, your obligation ends, and your $41,200 becomes due and payable. And if she doesn't read it, she'll sign it anyway. You know her. She signed everything while looking at her phone. The notary tried once. "Ma'am, do you know what you are signing?" "My husband will explain it to me," she said, and went back to her screen. No one explained it to her. In 22 years, she never read anything that didn't have a price tag hanging from it. At 2:17 in the morning, in the plant office, with the boilers shutting down, I opened the blue folder and read for both of us. Back to my trade. The label commands: wash at 40 degrees, do not use bleach, do not iron. My job is to obey small papers. That's why her clothes shrank and mine didn't. I didn't feel rage. Rage is hot water. It boils and evaporates. What I felt was a drain opening, everything useless flowing down its proper course. I'm going to sign her divorce. With pleasure. The divorce was a procedure, the debt, a calendar. And if there's one thing I know how to do in a laundromat, it's wait for the cycle to finish. My lawyer read the blue folder twice, once as a lawyer and once as a gambler. Let me see if I understand. You consolidated $200,000 of your wife's debt into a single loan in her name, secured by the house. You paid $41,200 in past due balances, and you signed an agreement where you cover the monthly payments as long as the marriage exists. That's what the paper says. And if the marriage ends, my obligation ends with it, and my $41,200 becomes due and payable. He placed the folder on the desk slowly, like someone setting down a bomb. She signed this. She signed everything while looking at her phone. And she already asked for the divorce 3 weeks before humiliating you in public. Very organized, my wife. My lawyer leaned back in his chair. This is well constructed. I don't say that to everyone. She's going to sue when she understands, I guarantee it. But everything she's going to fight, she signed herself before a notary, without a single objection. There's just one important question left. The house. She gets the house. Silence. He looked at me the way you look at a client who has just signed away too much. The house is the collateral for the loan. If she gets it, exactly. And then he smiled. Not like a lawyer, like a gambler. It's a Trojan horse with a tile roof. I signed the divorce papers on a Tuesday at her lawyer's office. She arrived radiant, with a full schedule. Beauty salon at 11, celebratory drinks at 1. She signed without reading, as she signs everything, with the large, quick handwriting of someone in a hurry to celebrate. The house is mine, she blurted out, looking at her lawyer, not me. It's only fair. I gave 22 years to that marriage. Keep it. Her lawyer cleared his throat uncomfortably because lawyers can smell poison gifts. But his client was already signing, and a lawyer doesn't argue with a client who's celebrating. That easy? She asked, still holding the pen in the air. I owed it to you. For 22 years. She liked the answer. She believed it completely. I had never been generous with her in 22 years, and she chose to believe it on the very day she was signing her own sentence. I signed with pleasure. I wrote with pleasure. My signature also came out round, relaxed with a steady hand. She took it as resignation. Some people mistake calm for defeat because they've never watched someone wait for a wash cycle to end. While the divorce made its way through the courts, life went on at the plant. It was the forewoman who brought me the first piece of information, as she has brought me all the important data about my company for 20 years without asking. She smelled trouble. The towel guy came in today with an attitude, she said, leaving the production report on my desk. The man from the gym, the investor, that one. He showed up in a truck with a logo, gave orders to my boys as if this place was his, and asked how much we charge per kilo and if we can double the volume for the new gym. New gym? His words. They're about to open the 6th one, and from now on, he's managing the account personally. She stood in front of my desk with her hands on her hips. In 20 years, she has never brought me gossip. She brings me reports, data, and she smells smoke. Coming from her, that was equivalent to a fire report. I called accounting and opened the client folder on the screen. Tell me about Vertex Fitness. 5 gyms. Towel contract for 2 years. 6 months without payment. $8,600 past due. And the renewal is in 60 days. And we're holding their security deposit, $25,000, until full settlement. 6 months without paying. The real man. The one with the logoed truck. the one who poured himself a drink from my bottle and toasted me with champ. He had been washing his towels for half a year with my water, my soap, and my patience. Don't cut off the service. Keep washing, and send me the complete statement with dates. Do we bill them? Not yet. Let the stains set. My daughter came back on Sunday from her first weekend at her mother's house, and she returned quiet, in a way I recognized. The way she is when she's arranging a sentence before saying it. I made her pasta, the only thing I cook well, and I waited. With children, as with stains, if you scrub immediately, you spread it. You have to let it sit for a moment. Dad, did you know he's going to open another gym? The sixth one, I heard at the plant. He says Mom is going to be his partner. My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. With what money? That's what I asked. She looked at me, and for a second, she was 25. They laughed. They said she was almost the owner of a house free of worries. And then he said a weird thing. He said, Dad, your mom is one of those who signs quickly. And they laughed again. I didn't say it to my daughter, but at that moment I knew the investor wasn't building a gym. He was building an exit, and my ex-wife had just put the roof on it. What's with that face? Just reading the label, I said, Eat, it's getting cold. The decree came out on a Friday morning. 22 years of marriage dissolved in a 3-paragraph resolution with an embossed seal. No music. That same afternoon, my lawyer sent the certified letter. In compliance with the notarized agreement, my monthly payments of $3,480 would cease as of the date of the decree, and I reserved the right to demand the return of $41,200. Everything with a return receipt requested. The letter arrived on Wednesday. The signed receipt came back. She received it at 11:15 in the morning, and on Thursday my daughter texted me, Mom says you should come get your things. I went, not for my things, but for the theatrics. And the scene played out on its own in the kitchen where I had cooked for 17 years, with my daughter as a witness at the door. She had the letter in her hand, not fully open, but fully torn. She had ripped it into 4 pieces with that elegance of hers for breaking what she doesn't understand. What is this? A certified letter. You ripped it without reading it, I assume. My lawyer says that agreement is worthless, that he's going to have it thrown out, that no one can force me to do anything with a little piece of paper. Your lawyer says a lot of things. Mine gets paid to keep quiet. You think you can scare me with little papers? She threw the 4 pieces into the trash, one by one. I have the house, I have the man of my dreams, and on Friday, I'm celebrating my freedom. You have your laundromat and your little folder. Mom, my daughter said from the doorway. You didn't even read it. Silence. She looked at her as if checking a label and not believing what she read. You're on his side. I'm on the side of reading things. For the first time in 22 years, someone in that house had answered her with the truth. I packed my things in 2 boxes. I said goodbye to my daughter with a hug that said, hang in there. As I was leaving, I still heard her. And on Friday, when I toast to my freedom, you'll be in your plant washing underwear. To each his own. To each his own. I wrote that down. I'm a big fan of writing things down. That night, in my apartment 2 blocks from the plant, I did the math with the calmness of someone ironing, number by number without wrinkling anything. Her bank account. $212. I knew because the monthly payment for the family gym membership, hers, not her lover's, bounced for lack of funds, and the notice came to me, as I was still a co-holder on things no one used anymore. Her first charge of $3,480 was due on Friday, exactly 1 week after her freedom, the same Friday as her party. Her house, a $200,000 loan stuck to the ceiling like a damp spot she hadn't seen yet. Her dress for the party, already bought. My daughter saw it hanging in the closet with the tag still on. $1,300. She didn't want to tell me. It just slipped out, as true things do. A $1,300 dress, $212 in the bank, and a freedom party in a house mortgaged to the hilt, with guests, with the real man, with Instagram. On Friday, she debuts the dress and celebrates her freedom. On Saturday at 9:40 a.m., the bank will be dialing her number for the first time. In the laundromat, there's a law that never fails. Everything that goes up in the spin cycle must come down. She's on her way up. I already know where the button is. I followed her freedom party on Instagram from the plant office, with the night shift roaring below. My daughter sent me the story without comment, and 2 minutes later, she texted, "Dad, are you seeing this?" "I'm seeing it." The house was full, golden balloons, one of those rented signs that said, "Free at last." The real man cooking on my grill with my apron, toasting with my glass. Everything in that photo was mine except the owner. She, in the $1,300 dress, glass held high, a cover girl laugh. "Did you see what's in the kitchen?" And there I saw it. In the background, on the counter next to the bottles, an unopened bank envelope with the clear window and the red logo. Unopened like everything else in her life. She's not going to open it, Dad. She doesn't even know what it is. She doesn't have to. The bank will open it for her tomorrow. I put the phone away and went back to the production report. The hotel laundry doesn't wash itself. On Saturday at 9:40 a.m., the bank called her. I know because at 9:52 a.m., she called me. "What did you do?" "Good morning. How was the party?" "The bank is telling me I owe them $180,000, that the loan is in my name." "What did you do?" "What you asked me to do. I paid your debts. 14 creditors, one single, orderly bank loan. It's on page 2 of the agreement, the one you signed while looking at your phone. You tricked me. You set a trap for me. I saved you from foreclosure with 9 days to spare. What I didn't do was sign for you. The signature is yours, a very nice one, by the way, large handwriting. You were only good for paying, and I paid for 22 years. I'll let the silence do its work. Now it's your turn to be good for something. Read the agreement." I hung up. The phone continued to vibrate on the desk once, twice, 6 times. I turned it face down and let the spin cycle answer for me. On Monday, I learned her lawyer was good. I knew because he didn't sue out of rage. He sued with engineering. Listen carefully. My lawyer said the 40-page lawsuit on his desk. He's not asking to annul the loan. He knows that's impossible. The bank is a third party in good faith. He's asking to annul the agreement. He claims she signed it in a state of error, that you abused the marital trust, and for damages, he wants $250,000 in compensation. And if he wins? If he wins, the agreement dies. Your obligation to pay never existed, but your $41,200 was never a loan, either. It was a gift from a husband, and on top of that, you owe her $250,000. She can't prove anything. She signed before a notary. She doesn't need to prove everything. She needs a judge to see what I see. A man who set all this up 7 days before she asked for a divorce. That, told by her in tears, sounds like a trap. Told by you, it sounds like what it is, a rescue. It depends on who cries better. In this, he passed me the last page, the precautionary lien. He requested it on the company's accounts, and the judge signed it on Thursday. The company's accounts. The payroll account. 23 families eat from that account on Mondays. On Friday at 8 a.m., my bank executive called me. Bank executives don't call at 8 a.m. with good news. "Sir, I regret to inform you, the company's accounts are frozen. Court order. Not a dollar can go in or out." "How long?" "Until a judge lifts it. Weeks, could be months." Today is Friday. I pay payroll on Monday. Silence on the other end. The silence of a bank is the same everywhere. The silence of someone who has already hung up internally. "I'm very sorry," he said, and then hung up for real. That night, I stayed in the office with the payroll list on the screen. The forewoman found me there with a cold coffee. She didn't ask. She already knew. At the plant, bad news travels through the noise of the machines. "How many are there, boss?" 23. I turn the screen towards her. The presser pays for his mother's chemo. The twins from packaging send money back to their village. The driver just got a loan for his truck. "And what do you have?" "An apartment 2 blocks from here." She looked at me and spoke as she always does. Just once. "Mortgage it. We'll make it work. Mondays are for paying, period." She knew where to squeeze. She had lived 22 years with me. She knew the plant isn't my business. It's my extended family. That's why she chose the lien. It was a good hit. I'll give her that. The first one that truly hurt. On Saturday, I mortgaged my apartment. The line of credit came through on Monday at 10 a.m. By 11 a.m., the payroll was paid in full to the cent. I gathered the plant workers at lunchtime. No speech. Speeches are for dinners. As you'll know from the bank, the account is frozen because of a divorce dispute. Today's payroll came from a personal loan secured by my apartment. I promise you one thing, as long as I have something to mortgage, no one here gets paid late. This will be sorted out in weeks. If anyone wants to look for something else in the meantime, the door is wide, and your severance will be complete and up to date. No one moved. The presser raised his hand, not to ask a question. Boss, we'll iron anything, even this. The forewoman said nothing. She handed me the day's complete production report, like every other day. In the corner, she had written something in pencil. We've washed other people's dirty laundry for 25 years. We're not going to get wrinkled by a hot iron. 23 people stayed. I wrote that down too. I'm a big fan of writing things down. Meanwhile, at the House of Freedom, Love was starting to read the fine print. My daughter told me on Sunday, over our usual pasta. They had a huge fight. He wants Mom to put up the house for the 6th gym to remortgage it. The house already has a loan on it. You can't remortgage what's already mortgaged. That's what Mom told him. And he said, she lowered her voice as if repeating a curse word. So now, what good are you to me? My fork stopped halfway again. What good are you to me? The real man, 8 months of romance, and he was already using my ex-wife's dictionary. Dad, why are you smiling? Because stains, honey, they always come out. Some with cold water, others on their own. On Wednesday, the summons arrived. Conciliation hearing. The following Tuesday, 9 a.m., courtroom 12. Mandatory attendance for both parties with their lawyers. That night, I reviewed the blue folder one more time. The agreement, the signatures, the receipts, the Vertex bank statements with their 6 months of smoke. Everything in order, everything dated, everything read by someone by me. She would arrive with her expensive lawyer, her new dress, and her well-rehearsed tears. She would ask for the agreement to be annulled, for my rescue to be declared a gift, for me to pay for her party. I would bring my little papers, the same one she tore up without reading. In the laundry business, we say there's no such thing as a permanent stain, just stains that need more cycles. Hers has been soaking for 22 years. On Tuesday, it goes into the machine. I arrived at the courthouse 12 minutes early. Punctuality is factory installed at the plant. The one who opens the door is the owner. She arrived at 8:55 on the arm of her expensive lawyer, with the real man 3 steps behind playing bodyguard. A discreet gray dress, like a widow in training. The one from the party was red. This woman dressed for every performance. You had to give her credit for the craft. She saw me in the hallway and smiled the way you smile at an employee. You came. So punctual. You were always so punctual for paperwork. That's what I'm good for. Thank you for the 22 years. Seriously, she placed a hand on her chest, the same pose from her toast. You taught me a lot, that a man is good for what he's good for. The lover approached with his hand extended and the smile from the logoed truck. Champ, no hard feelings. This is between you two. I'm just here to support her. I glanced at his hand for a second. I didn't take it. We wash your towels, champ. 6 months without payment. $8,600. The smile stayed on his face a moment longer, like a sign that had just lost power. He withdrew his hand slowly. We'll talk about that. Business is business. From now on, you talk to my accountant, I said, handing him a card. The renewal is in 60 days. Show up with the account paid in full. The room was small. A long table. A conciliator with a face that had seen it all twice, and a tape recorder running. Her lawyer began, and he began well. No shouting, just measured pain. My client signed an agreement she did not comprehend, in a state of error, within a 22-year relationship of trust. Her husband, a businessman, an expert in contracts, put a document in front of her that turned his own rescue into a time trap. And then she cried. It must be said, she cried well, paused, dignified, without sniffling. I signed whatever he put in front of me. 22 years of trust. He would give me the papers and say, sign, my love, and I would sign. She looked at the conciliator, not at me. How could I not trust my husband? The conciliator wrote. He wrote a lot. My lawyer didn't move, but I saw his eyebrow twitch. But this is costing us eyebrow. Mr. Conciliator, the expensive lawyer continued, my client does not seek revenge. She seeks justice. The annulment of an abusive agreement and $250,000 for financial and emotional damages. However, a studied pause. We are willing to settle today. My client will withdraw the lawsuit if the gentleman acknowledges the rescue for what it was, a gift between spouses, and compensates for the damages with $100,000. Today here, $100,000 and the word gift. If I signed that, the agreement would die, my $41,200 would die with it, and I'd still have $30,000 in monthly payroll coming out of a loan hanging on my apartment. It was a good offer, poisonous but good. Her lawyer had found the only door, not to win the case, but to make me buy my way out. The conciliator looked at me. Does the gentleman wish to respond to the proposal? And that's when I did what 25 years in the laundry business teaches you. Nothing. I didn't touch my phone. I didn't look at my lawyer. I let the silence work the way you let soap work. 10 seconds. 15. She shifted in her seat. Her lawyer cleared his throat. The real man checked his watch. Well, she snapped. I'm thinking about your boutique, I said. It went bankrupt in a year. 11 credit cards, 2 personal loans, 14 creditors. And when the bank was 9 days from taking your house, who paid the past due balances? That doesn't answer the question. $41,200 from my account. I looked at the conciliator. Mr. Conciliator, gifts don't come with a notarized agreement, an amortization schedule, and a reimbursement clause. You designed it yourself as a trap, the expensive lawyer said, regaining ground. 7 days before the divorce. I designed it as a rescue. The trap was set by the bank years ago. It was called a credit card. You handed it to me, she said, without tears now. I trusted you. How many times did I put papers in front of you in 22 years? Silence. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Once. The agreement. You signed the other papers in stores and at the notary's office. The notary asked you, ma'am, do you know what you are signing? What did you answer? Silence. My husband will explain it to me. I placed the notarial record on the table. It's in the official act, in the letter where I notified you that my payments would cease. You received it at 11:15 in the morning. You signed the receipt and tore it into 4 pieces in front of our daughter. Here is the receipt, another paper. And this photo is from your freedom party. The bank envelope in your kitchen, unopened, behind the sign that said free at last. The bank notified you in writing, by phone, and by email. You were busy toasting. The conciliator stopped writing. He looked at the papers, one by one, slowly. And then she played her last card. She turned towards the door where my daughter had just entered on her own. No one had invited her. She was late because she came by bus. My ex-wife extended a hand to her. Honey, tell the conciliator what your father was like at home. Tell him how he treated me. The entire room turned. My daughter, 19, with her backpack still on her shoulder, looked at her mother, then at me, and spoke clearly without rehearsal. In that house, I learned to read papers before I signed them. My mom never read anything. I'm on the side of reading things. She sat down behind me. No one wrote anything for a while. The conciliator closed his notebook. Ma'am, with these elements, my professional recommendation is that you withdraw the lawsuit. And the precautionary lien? My lawyer asked. He looked at the file. It will be lifted as soon as I process the order. This week. Her lawyer asked for a recess. In the hallway, her performance over, she caught up with me by the coffee machine. Wait. The first time in months, she had spoken to me without an audience. Look, you win. Yes, I get it. Just give me a chance to get on my feet. Forgive the $41,000. I'll pay the loan however I can, but don't drown me. For our daughter's sake. Our daughter saw you tear up the paper. Is that what matters to you? A piece of paper? You didn't tear it up. You tore up the last time someone was trying to warn you. Behind her, the real man was arguing with the expensive lawyer. He approached us with the face of someone who has just done the math. What does withdraw the lawsuit mean? In the house. You swore to me the house was yours. Free and clear. Shut up. Now is not the time. Free and clear, or with a $180,000 loan on it. Now is the time for me. He adjusted his jacket, the same gesture from the dinner. I have 5 gyms to support. I'm not going broke for you. He left, just like that, down the courthouse hallway, without saying goodbye to her. 8 months of being a real man, and he walked out like a bad business deal through the nearest exit. She was left alone by the coffee machine in her gray widow-in-training dress, watching him go. I didn't feel joy. I swear. I felt what you feel when you take a load out of the washer and see the stain is gone. Job done. The order was signed on Thursday. The lien was lifted. The payroll went back to the company account, and my apartment was free of the mortgage 2 weeks later. The bank, meanwhile, continued its own cycle. 3 missed monthly payments, execution of the collateral. The House of Freedom went up for public auction. In the laundry business, when the cycle is almost done, you don't open the machine door. You wait. The cycle is finishing. She called once a week after court. I let it ring. There was nothing left to read. The auction was on a Tuesday, through the bank's online portal, with an auctioneer and everything. I went. I sat in the back without a paddle, like someone verifying a job already completed. The house sold for $262,000. The numbers were in order. $180,000 for the loan, $9,800 for costs and interest on the foreclosure, $41,200 for me, per the agreement. She was left with $31,000. 22 years of marriage, $31,000, and 2 suitcases, the same one she left with. I heard about the real man from accounting. The contract was not renewed. The $25,000 deposit was applied to the debt, as the contract states, and he's paying off the remaining $13,600 in monthly installments, with his signature on the line. The 5 gyms now wash their towels somewhere else. The 6th one never opened. She now works in someone else's boutique. She assists customers, works the register, and at closing, she signs the daily cash report without anyone having to ask her. My daughter told me, without comment, the same way she sent me the Instagram story. That's how evidence is delivered. My daughter and I still have pasta on Sundays. The tuition is still paid on Monday from my account, as always. Your daughter's, she once tossed at me like someone leaving the bill at reception. Well, yes, my daughter's, and it's paid with pleasure. What did all this cost me? The mortgage on my apartment, 2 months of lawyers, and a few nights at the office. That gets paid and forgotten. What you can't get back are the 22 years. And I didn't lose those in court. I lost them little by little, with every paper I signed for both of us. I stored the file in the blue folder, which was quite heavy by now. Before archiving it, I put a label on it, like on every garment that leaves the plant. Garment washed, account closed, delivered. And the water ran clean. Now you tell me something. When she was begging me to forgive the $41,000 crying by the coffee machine, would you have forgiven the debt? Or would you have collected every last dollar like I did? What would you have done? I'll be reading your comments.